Hi, seventh graders. This is Mrs. Jenkins, and today we're going to be writing a 5-paragraph essay. It's going to be a narrative essay, which means it's going to be an account of something that really did happen to you that you can retell in essay form, which means 5 paragraphs. So, what you're going to need is a blank sheet of paper, a pencil. Please make sure you grab a pencil because there will be erasing and you don't want to have to scribble out. Then once you grab the sheet of loose leaf paper and a pencil, go ahead and write your name, date, and class in the upper left-hand corner. So right now you can go ahead and pause the video and grab your piece of loose leaf paper, a pencil, write your name in the upper left-hand corner along with your date and class, and then press play. So I'll see you back here in a couple of seconds. Okay, so you are back, and hopefully you have your pencil, and you should have also taken the time to write the title on your paper, which is pre-writing. So if you didn't write the title on your paper, you can do that now. So I have decided to write about a time that I was afraid, and the time that I was afraid will be a time where the fear actually motivated me to do something. And so that's what you see me writing about now, starting with Roman numeral 1. Roman numeral 1 also has a A, B, and a C. And in the A, B, and the C, I get to tell you all about the details of the time I was afraid. These are called controls, and these will be the subtopics. I call them controls because these will be the things that control my writing, what I can cover and what I can't cover. I cannot tell you everything about this time that I was afraid. So I'm going to get started by telling you it was a time I was afraid to run in a marathon. It began when I was asked to run in the marathon, but I resisted. I didn't want to do it. For B, I decided to promise the person that I would run in the marathon race with her next year to just kind of get rid of the problem. And the event kind of ended when the following year came, and I had to go ahead and face the facts and run in the race. So that's basically what I will cover to let you know about the time that I was afraid, and it motivated me to do something different. So now would be a good time to pause the video and you think about a time that you were afraid to do something, but you use that fear to motivate you to do something. Pause the video and think about a time that you can write about for the next 5 paragraphs. So you need a pretty big story you can retell. Then come back. So now it's time to start the first body paragraph of the outline. And again, I'm going to keep telling my story on the outline without much detail. So Roman numeral 2 is talking about how this whole thing began. And it began when my niece asked me to run the marathon in 2015. It's a big race. It's about 220 something miles split between 10 people. And I said no. So this is how this whole thing started by her asking me to run in the marathon, and I said no. So this whole section, Roman numeral 2, A, B, and C, will be about how this began with me resisting this idea of running in the marathon with my niece. So I said no. So letter A, she asked me. She asked me to run in the race in 2015. I know it says 2016. I erased it. I already fixed it. And that was last year, and I said no. Roman numeral B, she pretty much pestered me about it. But I said no for many reasons. I told her I had many reasons, and I didn't want to go into it, but mostly secretly, I was just scared to run that far. So I made up a bunch of reasons why I told her no. Roman numeral C, I'm sorry, no, letter C. So I just basically let her run the race in 2015 on her own, and she did. It was great. She told me about it. She told me how wonderful it was, and yeah, I was happy because I dodged that race. I didn't have to run it. So that was pretty much it. Pause the video, and you work on your Roman numeral 2. So now it's time to talk about Roman numeral 3. This is the second body paragraph of your essay, and it represents the event as it continues on. So in the middle of my event, I made a promise. So I basically promised her that since I didn't run with her in 2015, next year, just ask me about it next year and I will run with you in 2016. So she was very, excited about that. She accepted that. She was happy about that. So, um, yeah, I just promised her I would run with her next year just to, make her feel better, basically. So, B, 2016 rolled around, came up pretty quickly. And so she began asking me, "Oh, Aunt Hazel, remember you said you would run the race with me? So, I have your registration papers. We need to start getting ready and training." And, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I already dodged her once. I promised. So, she was not going to let me off the hook. So, Roman numeral C, basically, I had to agree to do it. So, that's it. Pause the video and you work on your second body paragraph, Roman numeral 3. Then come back. Okay, so welcome back. And now it's time to move to Roman numeral 4, which is the third body paragraph of this narrative essay or narrative account of a story that happened to you. So, this is the part where you talk about how this whole thing ended. And for me, it ended with me just mentally deciding to just run the race. I had agreed to it, the time is getting closer, so I just decided to just do it, just set my mind to it, not be afraid, or if I was afraid, just go ahead and be afraid, but still just do it. So, again, I don't have to put all of these details in my outline, but just enough to jog my memory when I'm writing my essay. So, um, Roman numeral 4, I just mentally decided to do it. So this too has an A, B, and C element to it. So for Roman numeral A, I just basically decided to train. So I don't know why I keep saying Roman numeral A. For letter A, I just basically decided to train. I trained very diligently, and I didn't overtrain, but I trained very diligently, and that really helped me to get over some of my fear about it. So that helped. For B, as this winded down, I actually had to go to the race. So I went to New York. We all drove as a team. It was a long ride. It was in upstate New York. Again, I do not have to put all this in my outline because I can save this for the essay. But just to jog my memory, I'm going to write here that the time came. I traveled to New York and, just was excited to just get the race basically done. For C, well, actually, I better put down a couple details so I don't forget. When I got to New York, I met the team because um, I didn't know all of the team members. um, basically I had to meet them because these were all people she invited. There were a total of 11 of us. A couple of them I knew, a couple of them I didn't. So I met the other runners, and then I learned about my running assignments and how long they would be. Would they be hills? Would I be running in the mountains? Would I be running at nighttime or daytime? So I learned my assignments, also called legs of the race. So now C. So C, I actually ran the race. So the time came and I ran the race, and I did it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I ran my 3 sections of the race. Got it done. Okay, so now it is time to pause the video once again and you work on your Roman numeral 4, which is how this whole thing ended up. Then come back. Okay, so welcome back. Now it's time for Roman numeral 5. Roman numeral 5 is the conclusion paragraph. Really, the conclusion should be short. It should contain no really new groundbreaking information about the story, but you can kind of round out the story by, telling, your final thoughts or what you learned from this experience, etc. So this is your conclusion. The story should already be told. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying I did it, as in I ran the marathon. This too should have an A, B, C element to it. And so for A, I'm going to just talk about how I face my fear of running long distances. I'm not going to say a whole lot about that, but I do want to mention that I faced my fear. It motivated me to face up to something I was nervous about. For Roman numeral B, I guess I can say, it was something positive. It was a learning experience that I can use in other parts of my life. And, I accepted a new challenge, and I respected a commitment and a promise that I made. And then finally, I'll wrap up by saying something like, I made some new friends, and it was basically a good experience overall. And again, I won't put any new details about the story in my conclusion. So basically, that is it. From start to finish, it took me 13 minutes and 3 seconds to write this outline. I didn't rush. I took my time. You can go back and pause, rewind, and watch this as much as possible. But you see now how easy it is to write an outline for the essay that you will later write tomorrow. So keep on working. Bye. So just a final thought. The outline is really not meant to be long and detaily at all. It's just really meant to get all of the ideas about your narrative out of your head and onto the paper. And it is also meant to make sure the final essay you write is well paced and well organized. So by the end of the period, you should be handing in your outline. Thanks. Bye.